And we come now to 0 hour 30 Universal Time. In the news at this hour, Lebanon is objecting to parts of a proposed United Nations Security Council resolution aimed at stopping hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah. Officials in Beirut say the Lebanese government has not totally rejected the proposal, but the officials say the country will demand that some parts be changed. France and the United States introduced the resolution. The measure calls for Hezbollah to end its rocket attacks on Israel and for Israeli forces to stop all military operations. The Security Council president says the group will meet again on Sunday after diplomats discuss the resolution with their governments. Israeli military officials say one Israeli soldier has been killed in clashes with Hezbollah fighters in southern Lebanon. 8 others were wounded. The Israeli army says the fighting, on Friday night, was in the village of Taiba. Officials also said 8 Israeli troops were wounded in the southern Lebanese city of Tyre. An Israeli officer said the troops killed 4 Hezbollah fighters in a raid. The officer said the fighters were involved in launching rockets at Israel. He said Israelis killed 5 more Hezbollah fighters, but Hezbollah said it successfully defended itself. The Israeli army has arrested the Speaker of the Palestinian Parliament during a raid on his home. Palestinian officials said Abdelaziz Dweik was seized early on Sunday at his house in Ramallah. Israeli military officials confirmed the arrest. They said the fact that Mr. Dweik is a Hamas leader made him a target for arrest. Last week, Israel arrested at least 31 Hamas officials, including 8 cabinet ministers, Mr. Dweik, as it is properly said, being the most recent. United States troops sent to increase security in Baghdad have been deployed across the Iraqi capital. The goal is to try to reduce religious violence that has killed thousands of people. Officials said a force redeployed from northern Iraq was on duty on Saturday, especially in the western, mainly Sunni part of the city. Iraq has suffered continued violence between Sunni Arabs and Shiites since a Shiite religious center in Samarra was bombed in February. A top leader in the Al-Qaeda terror group has said a number of Egyptian militants have joined the group. Ayman al-Zawahiri said some leaders of the organization Gamma Islamiyah in Egypt have joined his group. Mr. al-Zawahiri spoke on a video recording that was broadcast on Saturday by Al Jazeera television. Mr. al-Zawahiri gave the names of several Gamma Islamiyah leaders. Among them was Muhammad al-Islambuli. He is the younger brother of the man who killed Egyptian President Anwar Sadat in 1981. In Pakistan, at least 35 people have been killed after a bridge broke over a flooded stream in the northwestern town of Murdan. The area mayor says many others are missing and are feared trapped under the wreckage. Local officials say more than 100 people were crowded on the bridge when it broke. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. Pakistan and India each expelled a diplomat from the other country on Saturday. The Pakistani Foreign Ministry said a diplomat at the Indian Embassy in Islamabad was caught with secret documents. But India says the man was seized on his way to the Wagah border crossing to meet his family. Indian officials say he was held for several hours before being surrendered to Indian officials. Hours later, India ordered a diplomat at the Pakistani embassy in New Delhi to leave the country. No reason was given. The Sri Lankan military says it has regained control over the eastern town of Muttur in Trincomalee province. Tamil Tiger rebels say they withdrew to positions established in February of 2002. They said they withdrew after gaining their goal. A pro-rebel internet website reported that 32 Tamil Tigers died in the clashes in Muttur. The Foreign Minister of Ethiopia has met with officials of Somalia's temporary government. A Somali spokesman says top Ethiopian diplomat Seyum Mesfin met with Somali President Abdullahi Yusuf. They held talks in the southern town of Baidoa, the Somali government headquarters. The spokesman said the Ethiopian delegation is trying to settle differences among Somali leaders. The leaders cannot agree if they should negotiate with Islamic armed groups that control most of southern Somalia. And the top electoral court in Mexico has rejected a request for a full recount of the country's presidential election on July 2nd. But judges ordered a recount at almost 12,000 election centers. That is about 9% of the 130,000 voting centers across the country. Andrés Manuel López Obrador lost the close election to Felipe Calderón. Lawyers for Mr. López Obrador have repeatedly said the vote was dishonest. And so, briefly now, here again is the major news of this hour. Lebanon is objecting to parts of a proposed United Nations Security Council resolution aimed at ending hostilities between Israel and Hezbollah. A top leader in the Al-Qaeda terror group said in a video recording that a number of Egyptian militants have joined the group. And the Sri Lankan military says it has regained control over the eastern town of Muttur in Trincomalee province. So ends the news in VOA Special English.